I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I knew it. I love when he does that.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Gentlemen, in my soul, something, something, Cody Rhodes. I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
Time. But let me go ahead and tell you.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 476 of the Hoots Podcast on this Friday, August 1st, 2025. It's yours truly, the nefarious brother Adam, a.k.a. Joshie Lopez, here for our SummerSlam preview show. 476. We have 24 episodes left here until we get to episode 500, so I appreciate the support from each and every single one of you who continue to rock with us since day one. This podcast comes to you free of charge anywhere you get your podcast from, especially our home domain hub for the Hoots Podcast, which is Odyssey. So shout out to the good people for Odyssey for having us on their platform and giving us an opportunity. We really do appreciate the support from the fine folks in the world of Odyssey. As I said, I am Joshie. You can hit me up on X if you like at the Hoots Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music. Make sure to hit the like button and smash the subscribe button on YouTube. You can follow the Hoots Podcast and subscribe there at the Hoots Podcast on YouTube. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers in order to become a partner with YouTube. So that would really help us out a lot. Besides that, and off the mic, I cover professional wrestling for a living. I make play-by-play articles each and every single week for WrestlingHeadlines.com. Usually you can find my work in the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com. And with this being August 1st, this may be the busiest month I'm going to have this year. I'm going to be covering, obviously, both nights of SummerSlam. Obviously, a big challenge for me. I always look forward to these major Big Four PLEs, just like any other wrestling fan. But as somebody who covers the industry for a living, it's on a different level. Like, it's a challenge, and I want to make sure that these transfers come out really good tomorrow and Sunday. And also, not only that, I'll be covering NXT Heatwave, which is going to be in Lowell, Mass. on August 24th. Also, that same day, I'll be covering AEW's Forbidden Door. This is going to be the first AEW pay-per-view that I've been able and allowed to transcribe since 2023. So a little shocker there for you guys. I'm covering an AEW pay-per-view this month. 2 pay-per-views on the 24th. And then on the 31st, to wrap up this crazy month, it'll be Clash in Paris. WWE's Clash in Paris PLE. That's going to be an awesome night as well. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a crazy month. Football season's right around the corner. They just had the Hall of Fame game last night with the Chargers and the Lions. Training camp is underway. Usually, like, right around this time, right at the peak end of summer, going into the fall is one of my other favorite parts of the year. I always have 2 favorite seasons. It's WrestleMania season, obviously, as a wrestling fan and work-wise. But also, my other favorite part of the year is SummerSlam going into the first month of the NFL season. That's my 2 favorite times of the year. So, with this being the first, this is going to be a long month. It's going to be a fun month. It's going to be a busy month. But I am excited for it all. To cover 5 pay-per-views in a month is going to be awesome for me when it comes to ROI. Helping really progress things forward with my move and everything. That's been heavy on my mind over the last couple of days. So making significant progress with that part of the move and stuff who knows? I might get a chance to add a 6th pay-per-view. I'll have to reach out to the guys at Wrestling Headlines because supposedly AAA is going to be streaming Triple Mania on the YouTube channel for WWE on August 16th. So, who knows? Maybe I'll get a 6th pay-per-view to cover this month. We'll see. But I'm just very excited. This is going to be a fun month. It's going to be a lot of great action. I'm excited for SummerSlam. I went over the card with you guys on last week's episode, and I really enjoyed the layout of some of these matches. And I think I even said it on last week's episode that I think this card is a lot better than WrestleMania's card for this past year. So I'm curious just as much as anybody else is on how that crowd in East Rutherford, New Jersey is going to be. You know, we've had 2 WrestleManias there. I liked WrestleMania 35. Some people didn't because it was too long. WrestleMania 29, for whatever reason, gets like bad reviews. I didn't think that was that bad of a show, but historically speaking, these events at MetLife Stadium, for whatever reason, they find the littlest things to like drag it down, right? We have this first attempt of doing 2 nights at SummerSlam every single year. It's going to be interesting, but I think for the most part, from what we've seen so far, and the match layouts and the cards for both nights of SummerSlam this year, I think we're going to be in for a lot of fun. So, with the podcast today, we'll in this first part of the podcast, I'll be giving you my thoughts on WWE Unreal, which is the new documentary series that they just released on Netflix. So I'll do that in the monologue here. From there, when it comes to this week in WWE, I'm going to keep it simple and just give you my preview and predictions for the entire card for SummerSlam, okay? And then I got a little piece of audio that I want to share with you guys. And then, as we usually do, with our main event segment, we'll do the Back Porch Q&A session. As always, if you ever want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. So before we get into our predictions for SummerSlam, let's talk a little bit about Unreal. I had a chance to binge watch the entire series last night as I'm recording this. I've been binge watching a lot of stuff lately. Well, not a lot of different shows, just one particular show outside of this Unreal show, which is called Vanderpump Rules. And we'll get into that another time because I got a lot to get off my chest when it comes to that show. I never watched it before. I heard like a lot of buzz about it over the last 10 years, and it was like one of those shows that kind of, for myself, I would just like, I wouldn't say shrug my shoulder against or be indifferent towards, but it was like I didn't go out of my way to watch it, right? But I went and watched the entire series from the first season to the last and all the reunions in between. So I've been doing that for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Now, going into this Unreal show, there's 5 episodes, and you know, there's been a lot of pontifications, a lot of discourse about the message and the takeaways that people should get, and whether or not this concept or the show as a whole would take away from people's enjoyment of believing the myth and the art of what professional wrestling is and how special wrestling is. But at the same time, I ask you the same question. For the same people that do shows like this, and video shows, and podcasts, and radio shows, and run wrestling websites, are you going to sit here with a straight face and tell your audience that it's a mistake for WWE to showcase the behind-the-scenes aspect of the industry when that's all you're talking about for at least 90% of your shows each and every single week? It's a simple question. I'm not speaking to the casual wrestling fan that doesn't look at dirt sheets every day or tries to find scoops on X from the newest, latest, greatest wannabe insiders that claim to have sources about the industry but don't know what the hell they're talking about half the time. I'm speaking to that crowd because there's a lot of practices in hypocrisy when it comes to professional wrestling in 2025. And it's not just the IWC. It's the wrestling media. It's society as a whole. There's a lot of hypocrisy because we all have to tie into our own narratives that we form in our head. And if something doesn't go through our brain threshold the way we see it, something's wrong with that. And that's not how it's supposed to go. So people like to control the narrative and spin it in which way they want to do it. You look at the trailer for Unreal and the concept of like, okay, we're going to bring you behind the scenes and give you a real look into what it is to not only put this show together, but also the lives behind these performers, male or female. I walked into watching this show last night with a clean slate, trying to take all my years of covering the industry and being a super passionate, hardcore wrestling fan since I was 4 years old. Here I am, being 31, almost watching wrestling for nearly my entire life. I went to watch this show last night with a clean slate and not try to walk in with any agendas or preconceived notions. And, I didn't watch it for any other purpose but to learn more about what actually goes on, because I'm one of the few people in my space that doesn't have to feel like I have to carry myself as if I know everything about the wrestling industry, because I don't. I never have. I've never carried myself that way. And I'm not going to start now. So when the concept of like, oh, we're going to show you what goes on behind the scenes and like the creative and stuff like that, I was intrigued because obviously that's something that I would like to do with my career. That's something that I've been wanting to do for my career for a long time. So yeah, I was curious to see what actually happens. We always hear things from certain publications and outlets, right, about their backstage sources says this, their backstage sources said, and we always have these conspiracy theories that hover around these storylines and shows and et cetera, et cetera. And for me, I'm a person, not that I want to live my life always like black or white, but for myself, I'd rather hear from the source itself than trying to pontificate a narrative based off of backhanded information from a third source, your mama's ass source, your sister ass source. I want to enjoy the prospect of forming my own thoughts and taking what people tell me at face value for the people who are actually doing something. And I know that's not a popular thing to do when it comes to the wrestling content creation space, because a lot of people live and die off of fantasy booking talk and dirt sheet talk and et cetera, et cetera. But when you watch this show and you see the concept of what WWE is trying to produce each and every single week, 52 weeks out of the year, and one of the things that Triple H said during this really caught my eye is that, yeah, if you try to logic your way out of 52 weeks of programming, your head's going to explode. A lot of the times it's not, oh, what's the head telling you? It's what your heart is telling you. It's a feel. You can have so many different directions you can go with performers each and every single week. It's a feel. Sometimes you have builds that last for 5 weeks. Sometimes, as we've seen this summer, we've had a lot of PLEs. So the build-ups have been kind of short, where we've had 3-week intervals from one PLE to the next, right? So trying to grasp that from a creative mind and producer of content, that's a lot of things to juggle, right? Now, when it comes to the build-up that they had for WrestleMania this year, maybe in a lot of ways that kind of hindered things was the fact that there was like almost 8 weeks of build for WrestleMania, because WrestleMania was going all the way past Easter in the middle of April this past year, which is probably the longest we've had to wait on a date-wise for a WrestleMania since God knows when. The middle of April for WrestleMania, that never really happens. We had this large, massive UK tour that we covered during the springtime in March, from Brussels to London to Scotland, all these different shows. And then we still had shows in the U.S. before we got to that WrestleMania weekend in Vegas. So, while you in this scenario where you have the build up in quick intervals during the summer, from like Money in the Bank to we had Money in the Bank. What was the other one that I just did? Give me a second. Let me take a look at my notes here so I don't misspeak here. Just give me 1 second. 1 second, por favor. Just 1 second. Alright. So, for example, right, we go for Money in the Bank. That was in June 7th. From there, we go to Night of Champions, which was June 28th in Saudi Arabia. From there, we had Evolution. Prior to that was Saturday night's main event with Goldberg's retirement, then Evolution. And now here we are going into SummerSlam. So, you had 3 to 4 shows with all of them had 3-week intervals. It's go time. Like, you can't, like, sit and wait and contemplate things of like, oh, we have an angle here, and maybe we need to pivot in a different direction, right? It's a juggling act. It's not, I don't think you want to find yourself in a position where you're having a pay-per-view to do every other week. But if you do find yourself in situations where you have 3-week intervals from one show to the next, it can keep you on your toes, because guess what? It's the summertime. Summertime is not always like a strong suit in the calendar year for professional wrestling. People are traveling the world. They're going on vacations. They're going out with their kids. A lot of people don't go to events in seated arenas unless it's for a concert purpose, and usually those are for the weekend. So if you have a weekly episodic television show on a Monday and Friday, those people could be going out to baseball games, to concerts, to different events, like during the summertime. And I even noticed this trend since I was a kid, that it's kind of like a cool down period after WrestleMania, because that's just what it is. So the idea of, hey, let's pump out some more content so we don't lose the attention of the audience during the summertime, I understood that. Now, to some people, that may feel like, oh, it's over consumption of product, like we're over compensating and putting out way too many shows. I don't see it that way, because one way or another, either they don't do that and we have a 7-week build to SummerSlam and everybody's like, oh, can we get to SummerSlam already? Oh, why is this taking... Oh, man, this build to SummerSlam is dragging. It's dragging and dragging. There's a lot of things that you hear on a lot of these shows that that don't come to fruition when you watch this Unreal show. And it's just really eye-opening to myself, because like I I like to call bluff, and I like to call out takes for people who are trying to be disingenuous and just doing it in the nature of being a clout chaser. And that's really a lot what it is. Like, and to say they don't listen to the audience, they had a full, like, half of the episode, I think it was the one where Jey Uso's getting ready to win the Royal Rumble and his build towards WrestleMania. They talked about the fact that he was slipping and, things weren't looking right for him going into WrestleMania against Gunther. And even Bruce Pritchard said during a Zoom meeting, like, they had to be careful about how they present Jey because something's not right. So it's not like they're putting a blind eye to things. But more case than not, if you hear, like, some stupid rap from a podcast like Solid Monster or JD from New York or whatever, more times than not, those complaints that they bitch about is either addressed in the next week's episode or right at the PLE. It's like, that's why I come on here and tell you, like, hey, don't pop a blood vessel if you don't have an answer to a feud the first week the feud starts. If I go to a movie and try to figure out the conclusion of it in 5 minutes in the opening scene, that kind of defeats the freaking purpose. Why am I sitting there? Why did I waste $40 on a ticket and popcorn and et cetera, to sit there and be like, oh, I'm watching this with an agenda and I need to know the ending now. That defeats the purpose, So there was a lot of different things that really caught my eye. I really like the fact that this series was kind of emblematic of the documentaries that we see on the NFL, like the quarterback and receiver. I thought that stuff was cool, like getting to see behind the scenes of Rhea Ripley and kind of the mental, like panic attacks that she was dealing with. Obviously, getting emotional to see Punk getting to main event his first WrestleMania, like something special like that was really cool. They had an episode fully dedicated to the women with a feature on Chelsea Green, fighting from underneath to get one opportunity at a championship. I thought that was awesome. The episode about how they concepted and contextualized the John Cena heel turn, I thought it was great. I thought it was really cool. The chain of command and all different decisions that had to be made for it to work. And lo and behold again, nothing was ever promised about The Rock showing up at WrestleMania. That was never said or advertised or promised. It was assumptions by the IWC, and they found a loophole to find something to bitch about because The Rock didn't show up at WrestleMania this year. Funny how that works. So, getting to see, again, from my takeaway from Unreal, there was stuff that I already knew from watching the product and stuff, but for me, I thought there's a good showcase of the nuance to it. Like, I appreciated hearing the perspectives from the Ed Koskis of the world and Michael Hayes, guys who are actually in that writing room, getting to see stuff from the producers like Abyss and Bobby Roode. That was awesome to see. My favorite episode was how they laid out the entire Elimination Chamber PLE in Toronto. I still think that's been the best show of the year so far. And especially the historic nature of John Cena's heel turn, I thought was just awesome. The layout of the men's Elimination Chamber match itself was pretty cool to see. But I didn't think it went overboard with exposing things. Like, there wasn't too much of, like, every episode was just going to be like, oh, we're going to be sitting and seeing 20 minutes of a full creative writing session. That was not the case. We got little spectrums of it in discussions here and there, but it wasn't the entire episode and the entire series as some people thought it was going to be. I thought it was cool. They said there's going to be more episodes that's going to be dropping next year. So we'll get a season 2 of this. And I think it's a cool concept. I think it showcased the industry in a way for people who've never watched it or gave it a chance before. And give you a real life look into what goes into making WWE what it is. And the performers behind the scenes as well. It's not just about the booking and stuff. So I really liked it. There's a couple other episodes I want to rewatch because I watched the entire series in one sitting. So and I was doing this last night, so I got a little wheezy towards the end of the series. Not because I was bored with the episode, but it's because I was just getting tired. But all in all, I really, really enjoyed WWE Unreal. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, go see it for yourself. It's really good. When we come back, it's time to get into our predictions and preview for the Slam of the Summers. That's right. Our final SummerSlam preview prediction show right here on episode 476 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. Yeet. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hoots Podcast. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Before we get into the preview and predictions for SummerSlam, I want to play a couple pieces of audio for you guys this week. As we usually do, like nice little gift from me to you as watching the podcast of Hoots. Make sure, if you're on YouTube right now, make sure to hit that like button and smash the subscribe button. That way we can get to closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate the support on that. And first clip here I'm going to play for you guys is from DC Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen's podcast on ESPN. They're part of the ESPN MMA YouTube channel. And they had CM Punk as a guest to preview SummerSlam this weekend. And here was what Punk had to say about Gunther.
Gunther, geez. Gunther's a guy that I feel I'm super excited to get in the ring with. You know, like you said it, he's on fire. Like, this dude is the best wrestler in the world. You know, he's got the gold to prove it too, but like just everything about him is a throwback. I think he's refreshing. I think he's real, you know. Really, I don't know if I can. He had me speechless the one Monday, and I'm almost speechless now trying to explain like how excited I am to get in there with him. Like, you know, because he's a guy who represents the business to me. He's a guy who represents the current business, and you could take him and you could drop him into a territory in the 60s and he would thrive. You could put him in, you know, Madison Square Garden in the 70s across from Bruno or whatever, and he would thrive. So he transcends, you know, decades to me. So he's one of the best right now. So
that was the first one here I want to play for you guys. The second one here is one that's been kind of viral. A lot of questions coming out of the Cody Rhodes appearance on the Bill Simmons podcast. Bill Simmons been doing this podcast game for a long time. And Bill opened the question to Cody straight up as to why Cody left AEW.
He never really talked about leaving AEW. But yeah, but it felt like
It's locked behind a paywall.
Yeah, apparently it is. But did you feel like that had a shelf life, or was there a moment during that run where you felt like this was home, you were going to be one of the building blocks of this, and that was going to be the rest of your life?
Gosh, it's hard to kind of put myself in that spot again, but I started to get a sense. You know, Michael Hayes is really famous for always leave the territory at your hottest. I started to get a sense that all wrestling needs change. Guys are going to go from company to company. You got to keep it fresh. Guys are going to go down for a minute, then they're going to come, whatever it may be. I just got the sense that it might be time for me to move into something else. And I didn't know what that was. I remember thinking, oh, that'd be crazy to be part of the Royal Rumble, to come home.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've made another home. I got kids at this home, basically. I got a lot, you know, but to show everybody, because the first meeting I have with Vince and Bruce Pritchard, I didn't think I was coming back.
Yeah.
I was excited to go to that meeting to say, and this is going to sound crazy, I wanted to tell them both thank you. I left on crazy bad terms. No one can ever leave like I left because of how I left. I didn't even sign my release papers. Like, Chris probably could sue me over, like I was, I left in a terrible place. They let it happen because of probably more respect for my dad than anything. And then I went out and I fought so hard and filled with rage. I mean, I'm smashing the throne. I'm bleeding. I'm setting myself on fire. I was just, I don't know, going through it and living it out for everyone who was watching. But I wanted to tell them both thanks. You guys helped build me and train me. And I took all those skills and I took them everywhere I went. I took them to every company, to every independent, I got to reinvent myself on how I wanted to be here in WWE. I got to be that outside. And that's all I thought it was going to be, a sense of closure, a real sense of thank you so much for lessons I never got to thank you for. And then it turned into be something else by the end of that meeting. But,
Was the fear like 2022 at AEW is going to, 2024 is basically going to be the same thing and you're just running back years, but nothing, you're not elevating anymore. You're just you're kind of here and you can't go here?
Gosh, I know that
was my perception from afar. No,
yeah, and I feel like maybe that's a little bit of it. I think I started thinking about writing a book the other day. I've never even really considered writing a book, but we've done some fun stuff.
I think it would go well.
Right. And I think I was thinking of what would I say? How would I put it? Because there's clearly bad blood, but there's also clearly respect and love. And in the end, the way I kind of see it is, if I felt disrespected ever at WWE, that's one thing. That's a company that was built. Look at this glass. That's the Yankees. That's the flagship of it all. If I ever felt there, I was a number on a sheet maybe, but feeling disrespected at something I built.
Yeah.
With my friends and with us that we built, feeling disrespected there, I wouldn't stand for it. And I think Brandy and I both, I'm so blessed to have her. It was one of those where it was, fuck it. Like, I did way more here than you think. And you're going to find out the moment I'm out the door. And I hate saying that with any sense of anger or rage, but I'm like the angriest person you're ever going to meet. I'm always...
I'd like to be in the top 5.
Right. So,
when you said that, I was thinking about when I left ESPN. I was like, okay, guys, you're going to say same thing. Like, it made me so ready for the next thing.
To me, the greatest... I don't believe in, like, the cold-hearted, backstabby type of revenge. The greatest revenge on earth is success. And I felt like we were sitting on something wonderful, something great, a huge, potentially with what I was doing with the American Nightmare, as a bad guy, as a good guy, as something in between. We're sitting on something magic. And if I'm not going to do it in the house that I literally, with Matt, Nick, and Kenny built, then, buddy, I'm going elsewhere. And every day I am so blessed that Bruce Pritchard, Nick, and Triple H got me, Vince got me back, because I get to live it out now. I get...
it's funny the way you laid it out, because I watched the first couple episodes of... All
right. There you go. There's Cody's appearance on Bill Simmons' podcast, if you will. Yes. Let's continue on here with our preview and predictions for SummerSlam coming up tomorrow and Sunday from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm excited for this show. It's gonna be a little different this year. I think SummerSlam is starting earlier. So in Chicago, SummerSlam for both nights will start at 5:00, and then the pre-shows are earlier. So 2:00 Central, 3:00 on the East Coast. There's a countdown kickoff, like media event, like hype type of thing that they do every time before a big PLE. They're doing that today. I think that's at 4:00. Where right before SmackDown because SmackDown's at the Prudential Center. It's right across the street from the MetLife Stadium, or they used to call it the Izod Center. I don't know. I lose track of these arena names these days. Anyways, let's get into it. So, last week on the podcast, I kind of broke down the feuds and stuff like that, and went over the card blow by blow. Not to waste time, let's just go into the predictions for both nights, and then we'll go into the main event segment here. Cool? You guys ready? Write these down so you guys can hold me accountable and let me know what my record is by the end of the Sunday. See if I got this right, okay? So, for the first night, on Saturday, we got Tiffany Stratton putting her WWE Women's Championship on the line against Jade Cargill. Tiffany has been the champion for nearly at least 6 or 7 months at this point. I think her reign comes to an end on Saturday, and Jade Cargill becomes your new women's champion at SummerSlam. A lot of people are talking about double turns and stuff like that. I'm curious to see how this match goes because really we don't know who to boo. I believe these two had a match with each other on the SmackDown after WrestleMania this past year, and that was a very, very good match. So I think both these ladies are going to come into the show with a chip on their shoulder. I saw both of them on Busted Open this week, and I think they're going to be walking into this match with a chip on their shoulder. Some people may roll their eyes and think this could be the bathroom break match of the show, but I don't see it that way. I think these ladies are going to go out of their way to make it good, and I got Jade Cargill winning this one. From there, we go to the women's tag team title match with the Judgment Day against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I think the title change happens here as well. I think Charlotte and Alexa beats Roxanne and Raquel. So I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair and Alexa retain there. From there, we go to Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. It's a single match. If Kross wins, Zayn has to say that Karrion Kross was right. This one's tough. This one's really tough because I know a lot of people want Sami Zayn to be like, oh, I'm already seeing right now, like it's not even 2020. It's not even 2026 yet, and I can already tell that the Echo Chamber is going to try to pull a Daniel Bryan nonsense thing, like, oh, Sami Zayn better win the Royal Rumble or bust, like. I don't know, man. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I'm gonna get some heat for this, but like, I wouldn't care if Sami Zayn became the world champion or not. I don't think he has to be a world heavyweight champion to be constituted as a respected performer. He's already main evented WrestleMania. He's been part of the bloodline. He's done a lot of good stuff in his career. He was the NXT champion. If Sami Zayn never becomes the world champion, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Would it be cool if he does win? Sure. But what I don't want the whole Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 force push thing for him to. I just don't want that. So if you want Sammy to look strong and as he goes closer and closer for his chase towards the championship, then yeah, you have him beat Karrion Kross. But if it was up to me, I would go with Karrion Kross. But I'm going to go with the safe bet here, and I say that Sami Zayn beats Karrion Kross. Okay, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. This one could go a lot of different directions here, but I am going to go with Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul winning this one. I think they win, and then Randy Orton turns on Jelly and gives him an RKO after the match. But I think Jelly does have a good performance. But I do think Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul will win over Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. We saw what happened on Monday with Braun Breaker spearing Roman and Jey through the barricade. That was awesome. This is going to be a good match. I'm excited for it. This could go a lot of different directions. I think this one could set up some things go towards Clash in Paris. But in this one, I'm going to go with Roman and Jey. I don't think that Bronson or Braun Breaker lose anything momentum-wise if they lose this match on Saturday. This is a spotlight match. They're going to get a lot of time. It's going to be an awesome match, but I'm going to go with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to beat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And then Gunther against CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Here's where my head's at with this match. If this is the last match on the show on Saturday, I believe CM Punk will become your World Heavyweight Champion. If not, Gunther retains, and we'll see where it goes from there. But for me, and I'm going with my heart here, I do believe CM Punk is going to beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. That is my prediction for that. So that was night 1. Night 2 goes like this. We got a 6-pack tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. It's the White Six taking on Andrade and Rey Fenix, DIY, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits. This match is going to be freaking insane. This one is really a toss-up. There's going to be so many crazy spots and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, I think this comes down to either the Machine Guns or Andrade and Rey Fenix. Now, Andrade and Rey Fenix missed out on their chance to become champions on last week's episode, hence the melee that we saw on the outside, which forced Nick Aldis to make this match in the first place. But the fact that we are getting this match on SummerSlam, I think is awesome. This match is going to be insane. But if I have to go with my gut here, I'm going to go with the Motor Machine Guns or Andrade and Rey Fenix. Singles match here for the Intercontinental Championship. Dominic Mysterio put his IC title on the line against AJ Styles. This should be a fun one as well. I have Dominic retaining over AJ. For the steel cage match for the United States Championship with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, I got Solo retaining over Jacob. Unless it's something where they have enough people to neutralize the MFTs, I got Solo retaining over Jacob. But it should be a very good and physical match. No disqualification, no count out, last chance match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch against Lyra Valkyria. I got Lyra beating Becky, and Lyra will become your new WWE Women's Champion. That's going to be an awesome match. Speaking of awesome matches, we got Naomi against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky as a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. This could be insane. But I got Naomi retaining over Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Naomi is going to find some loophole to win this match, but I am going with Naomi to win this one for sure. And then finally, John Cena against Cody Rhodes in a street fight for the undisputed WWE Championship. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm good either way. I can see a reason why John Cena wins. I can see a reason why Cody Rhodes wins. At the end of the day, I think what we see at the end of this night in MetLife Stadium, we're going to see what starts John Cena going back to being a babyface. So my pick for Sunday will be Cody Rhodes beating John Cena at SummerSlam. That's my prediction. So, yes. 12 matches, 2 nights. It's going to be an insane time. I'm excited for this weekend. I really am. There's a lot of fun stuff to look forward to this weekend at SummerSlam. I'll be covering it this weekend in the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com, so make sure to check it out there, or my own website, if you will, ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. When we come back, we'll answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 476 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. Yeet. All right. One more segment to do here on the podcast of Hoots. It's time to answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session. As always, it's tradition, yes, of the podcast of Hoots. We got questions from the good brother Chris Zaletta at XCZaletta24X on the Twitter machine. Let's do it. Throw up the X for the good brother Chris Zaletta. Do it. He says, what up, Boost? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Both nights of SummerSlam, which match on each night are you looking forward to the most? Well, that's a great question. For me, from a transcript point of view, Chris, I'm excited for Gunther and CM Punk for night 1. And night 2, I am really excited for Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky, but I'm also excited for John Cena and Cody Rhodes street fight as well. So those are the ones that I would go for that question. But that's a good one. Who do you think approached Tony D? Ain't that $1 million question? I have no idea. Is it somebody from TNA? Is it somebody from NXT? I have no idea. That was an interesting cliffhanger thing that they did on NXT this past Tuesday. I have no idea what happened there. Uno, maybe that was somebody that was there to take Tony D out of NXT for good. We have no idea, so I'm curious to see what happens there. Did you watch Happy Gilmore 2 and think of MJ's? What did I think of MJF's role in the movie? Yes, I did. I watched Happy Gilmore this past Sunday on Netflix. It was really, really funny. I really enjoyed it. For the most part, seeing Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella on the TV screen was a nice sight to see, as always. But besides that, I thought MJF did a good job. I was expecting a little bit more. I thought with how they portrayed his family, it was just more them just commemorizing with each other. Like, we didn't get that much of an individual personality out of each of the brothers and stuff like that, or dialogue. It was just all of them in a group setting, and they're all the boys are all jocks, how Happy was in the first movie, and they're just beating up each other. I thought it was funny. I thought MJF did a very, very good job, but I did watch Happy Gilmore 2, and I thought it was really good. So thank you for asking. Thoughts on Unreal? I loved it. Like I said earlier, I wanted to walk into the show with a clean slate and not look at it as a wrestling analyst. I just wanted to watch it as a fan. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're not a wrestling fan and you wanted to check something and get a better understanding of the wrestling business besides what you read on wrestling websites, go check out Unreal. You know what? With that being said, I'm also going to do, I wouldn't say a thread, but I'm going to give you my thoughts as well on Unreal on Twitter as well. We'll see about that. What do you think of Kiana James with Julia? Good deal. She can cut promos, and it's good to have her on TV, so I have no problem with that. Kiana James with Julia is a good thing. So, will Dirty Dom be a Triple A champion eventually? Chris, man. I don't mean this in a bad way, but you just asked me a question that's equivalent of it's like equivalent of if water is wet. Yes, Dominic will be a Triple A champion. Yes. Do you think we'll see Ace Austin maybe pop up at NXT Heatwave? Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. You guys know me. I've been an Ace Austin fan from day one, and he's fantastic in the ring, so I think he would be a great addition to NXT, honestly. I really do. you see Ace Austin and Wesley, and like Ace Austin and Javon Evans, and like Tavion Heights, Miles Bourne. Like, my God. I would love to see Ace Austin in NXT. I think it'd be great. When Liv returns, is she in or at the Judgment Day? Well, ain't that the $1 million question. Liv will be at the Judgment Day. That's an AHT, at. And finally, did you check out Cody's sit-down with Bill Simmons? Yes, I did, my friend. As you guys heard on the podcast, there's a little clip right there from Cody's appearance on the Bill Simmons podcast. On that note, I want to thank Chris for the great questions this week. As always, make sure to follow him at Twitter at xteenZaletta24x on the Twitter machine. As always, if you want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. You can hit me up on X if you like at the Hoots Podcast. Follow me there. I'm on Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music. Make sure to check out my coverage of SummerSlam this weekend in the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com and ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. And last and certainly not least, make sure to follow the podcast on Odyssey. Odyssey is the new home of the Hoots Podcast. It's the road to episode 500 continues. We go from 476 to 477 next week. So the countdown to 500 now is from 24 to 23. 23 more episodes left of the podcast at Hoots. I love you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Make sure to enjoy SummerSlam for what it is. I think we got good cards for both nights, and it's going to be a fun shows to transcribe this weekend. And remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. Remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I'm Joshie. This has been episode 476 of the Hoots Podcast as the road to episode 500 continues. Enjoy SummerSlam, and we'll be here to recap it all next week on the podcast at Hoots. Yeet.
Bye-bye, bitch.